Day 4, the showdown round of the Bassmaster BP Top 100. And tournament leader Stacy King is optimistic.
We've got the cloud cover and still we don't have the wind, so I'm thinking I can catch them on the buzz baits and spinner baits early, hopefully, or at least get a couple, 3 nice fish this morning.
Stacy King's been close to winning his first BASS tournament several times. Hopefully today will be the day. But you can't always figure what a largemouth bass will do. Amateur partner Alan Sampson of Illinois from the back seat hooks up with a good one. Fishing the back of the boat behind a pro like Denny Brower jokingly is like following a seine. But don't laugh. Amateur partner Tim Goff of Virginia has hooked a good fish. This final round is taking a weird turn of events. But for Gary Klein, his whole sitting game plan is paying off. He's fishing a crankbait. The crankbait bite is also working for David Fritz, who started today in 5th place, only 3 pounds, 5 ounces behind the leader.
Oh yeah, I need that bad. It's a good one. God, come here. Jeez, I can't believe I caught that fish after all that. Whew.
Gary Klein believes his retrieve speed is key to his success.
The way I've been catching most of my fish is with the weighted 400s pose plugs or a Bill Norman DD22. And the key to my retrieve has been just basically slower than everybody else. There's a lot of fish on these areas. They're not very active. They're real hard to make them hit. It's like you have to finesse them, you know, into striking the crank plug, and therefore you have a lot of fish that are just barely hooked.
And proper lure presentation is important too, as Denny Brower demonstrates with this cast, back under a dock. Stacy King is still trying for a big bite on a topwater buzzbait. But as before, you just can't always figure out a largemouth bass. Alan Sampson got another keeper on his pink-colored soft plastic jerkbait. If you think today's events don't prove a largemouth bass is predictably unpredictable, then you won't believe this.
Thank you. Jay Ellis, folks, in 8th place when he started out this morning. He has 5 bass. He has a big fish. Watch the creel, watch the scale, watch the scale, watch out, look out, look out. 19 pounds, 3 ounces. Let's give him a good hand. Biggest catch today, and he moves into 1st place. Just takes the lead away from everybody else. What did you do? And did you change any tactic today that was different than the first 2 or 3 days?
No, actually, Ray, I fished the same technique and tactics I've been using all week. Fishing is such a funny thing. I come in with a big string and you think, geez, you know, that guy's on a lot of fish, he's catching a lot of fish. I had only 6 bites today, and at 2 o'clock I only had 2 fish in the live well. I caught 4 of those that I weighed in the last hour, and it was an area that I'd been fishing all week and just catching, you know, a few fish on. Yesterday I never had a bite there, and I had 2 fish with an hour to go. I figured, well, I'll go back and give it one more try, and these 4-pounders started eating it up. I was catching them on a Stanley Vibra spinnerbait with a wedge blade on it.
Unbelievable. Jay Ellis of Texas charges from out of the pack at the final curtain to win his first BASS tournament, a prize worth $46,000. Gary Klein almost did it. He's 2nd, only 8 ounces short. David Fritz finishes 3rd, just 13 ounces out of 1st. And the winner of the amateur division, Bill Kramer of Maryland, with a total of 34 pounds, 7 ounces.
Bill. Good job. Thank you, thank you.
Right now, it's time for the Pros Pointer, the how-to section of the Bassmasters. Brought to you by Wrangler, the most comfortable jeans known to man.
All the big fish that I caught came on a Stanley Vibra spinnerbait. This is the exact lure that I was using today. to catch the big stringer of fish. In the last hour, I had 4 big bass on this lure, a couple in the 5-pound class and a couple of 3.5-pounders. It's a Stanley Vibra shaft with I was using a small nickel Colorado blade and a number 4.5 gold wedge blade, a white skirt, no trailer, 3/8 ounce head. I was fishing the bait just in and around the milfoil and the hydrilla that was growing up there in Washington, D.C., kind of working on the outside edge of the hydrilla, working it in the pockets and in the holes, and I'd kind of work it through there, and I'd let it fall and let it flutter down in the holes, and that seemed to be one of the keys to getting the fish to bite. A little tip I can give you as far as when you're spinnerbait fishing in the weeds like I was today, and you're always getting hung up. You know how you have to slap your rod on the water or slap your bait on the water to get the weeds off your lure. One little tip that I can give is to, I use this fishing glue, and I put it's a real strong super glue, and it's good for a lot of different things. One thing I use it for is I put just a little drop right up here on the head of the spinnerbait. That's all it takes. And you just slide my skirt up there, and that spinnerbait skirt is on there for good. Doesn't matter how many times you slap the skirt on the water to get weeds off, it'll be on there all day. You can also use this fishing glue for your knots. It adds extra strength to your fishing knot. I use it especially with the new braided lines that are out now. The braided lines have a tendency to slip, and that glue can come in handy for that also. But that's the lure I was using, and it was just one of those days, you know, one of those days you dream about, catching all those big fish in the last hour, but that's how I did it right there.
What can you say? But Yogi was right. It's never over until it's over. Our congratulations to Jay Ellis on his first ever victory on the Bassmaster Tournament Trail. But I'll make you one bet. It won't be his last. He's a winner. Next week, our Bassmasters TV cameras are going fishing for fun with former world champion Ken Cook. His idea of a good time is stream fishing near his Mears, Oklahoma home. And if you want to have lots of fun, take along Ken's twin boys, Hunter and Tanner. There's some tips on how to fish streams and several pointers on how to get kids interested in fishing. Join us right here. For the Bassmasters, I'm Bob Cobb. See you all next week.